Hello, and welcome to episode 7 of Ninja Thinks No One Cares. We're 8 weeks into doing these episodes. I had to skip doing it last week because I had a lot of work to do and I required a little more time to do research on this one. So I'm sorry about that, but we are finally live and I'm so excited. I've been meaning to do this for a while. Please bear with me. My voice and my throat are a little bad today. But what I am going to do to make it better is find some nice, relaxing, and soothing music to play in the background. So just give me a moment while I find something nice to play. Okay, I think I found a nice one that we can do. It's got some nice bird sounds and stuff like that in the background. I'm just gonna allow it to get picked up by the mic and not route it through my OBS because I am not entirely sure that it'll do it properly. OBS has been acting up for me a lot lately, and doing these streams is getting a little bit tough. But, oh well, let's try it. Hello. I hope everyone's doing well. Oh, will you guys enjoy the music just for another minute? I think I have someone at my door. I'll make it louder. I'll make it louder till then. Okay, I'm back. Alright, let's see if everything works so we can start. Okay, before we begin, I just want to stand up a little bit and show you the t-shirt my friend got me. It says nobody cares. And I really like it. I might even wear it for every single one of these episodes. But let's see how it goes. I hope you guys can hear me fine. Today we're talking about values and whether values are actually important. You will know my opinion by the end of this, but more than anything, today is going to be a discussion of a few values I feel are forgotten, and then maybe you can decide if they are important or if you care about them or not. But for me, this entire thought process started quite a few years ago. I was dealing with a lot in my life as usual, and that's the way a lot of things in my life go. I don't know why, but OBS is not sending my video stream signal properly, or there's some massive latency that's happening. Okay, no, it's fine. I did it right this time. No technical issues. Okay, I'm good. But yeah, so quite a while ago, in a lot of my loneliness and a lot of my own time alone and doing research, especially through COVID and stuff like that, I sat and had to ask myself a lot of questions. One of them was deeply to do with my identity and who I thought I really was outside of my work and my sport and the people around me and what people thought of me and stuff like that. And there were a few questions I asked myself, which I'm going to ask you now. Do you know who you are when no one's watching? Do you know the core of your heart that determines the choices that you make, why you make them, how you show up when people are watching? Do you know what your basic values and principles are? And whether you do or whether you don't, when was the last time you even thought of stopping the doom scroll that is daily life to really sit and think or, care about these things? Through my reflection, I found it a little bit sad that this very capitalist, consumerist, mass-produced, trend-based culture has kind of thrown humanity completely off this basic core personality that we all have. In some ways, I think it's great to change, to evolve, to adapt, but there are some good things that we seem to have forgotten in that pursuit. I feel like there are some human values that are a driving force of living a thoughtful, honest, pure, and as close as possible to an enlightened life. And I feel we just don't have that anymore. Like, we're not, even if we have everything else in our Maslow's pyramid, we don't do the deep work that's required for that self-actualization. We don't consider it part of something that we should spend time on anymore. I don't know why. I've got some thoughts about why, and we'll talk through it. But I don't know whether it's because they're not needed anymore in daily life, or people have just forgotten that they exist because no one is talking about them. The media is not talking about values or, how to behave, or even rewarding that much good behavior or punishing bad behavior anymore. It's just constant now reporting of drama with no moral perspective or opinions. And I'm not saying media should ever have moral opinions or moral perspectives. I think reporting should be unbiased. But I find that even if something is inherently bad, there will be someone somewhere with this whole access of so many platforms where you have freedom of speech, where you just kind of keep regurgitating the same thing or the same piece of news and like making it so fantastical for no reason, without any backing or without any like, you should do this, you should not do this, this is harmful, this is okay. So I'm kind of realizing that no one even cares to embody certain positive values anymore. And then those same people will kind of complain about not having direction in life or not understanding why people don't respect them or why people don't trust them or why people react badly to them, why people don't show them the same respect that they show others, for example. So today I'd really like to talk about 4 values that I was taught growing up. In some part, they are values that I read about a lot when I was young. I used to love reading like a lot of heroic fiction, magical realism, fantasy with a lot of good versus evil stuff, and a lot of mythology. There are also values that I had to learn how to practically use in daily life, like outside of all this that I was reading. And when I hit a really bad phase in my life, I had to find a much better way to come out of it, a better way to permanently conduct myself, and how to become a new whole person and a better person. So the 4 values we're going to talk about today are honor, perseverance, integrity, and trust or trustworthiness. The reason I picked these 4 is because I noticed these often very deeply rooted in cultures and societies and people whose philosophies and basic functioning I find really meaningful. I may not totally admire who they are, we may not practically be able to embody it, life and the new world may not allow us always to operate that way, but it's something we have to try and kind of adapt to and find middle ground. For me, these things gave me a very good internal roadmap. They allowed me to build my own like instruction manual of sorts, like a how-to guide for my life. It also ended up making loneliness and depression so much easier to deal with. It's really not the thought I had in mind when I even tried or researched or made the effort to understand these things. But now those things feel like emotions or issues or problems or thoughts that are suddenly very easy for me to deal with. Like if I'm feeling lonely or if I'm feeling depressed, there's almost a trivialness to it and an impermanence to it and self-trust that I will get through them simply because my basic way of operating has changed. Now, loneliness and depression, they're both very, very important and they're very valid things to experience, but they no longer make me break my principles or any of how I have decided I want to behave or embody or portray, even if I'm feeling really, really super shit. So we'll go into a little bit more detail to talk about them. If you have some values that you'd like to share that are not one of these 4, if they've made a huge difference to you in your life, please put them in the chat, please put them in comments, please share them with me. I love having these discussions. They're very eye-opening. Everybody has a different way of operating. It's really nice to learn from other people. The other thing I would really like to say is I know last week we did not do an episode, so whoever's here, whoever's stayed, whoever's watched my episode so far, I would really like to thank you. And whoever is new, I welcome you into this world of 0% small talk, hardcore existential crisis, and constant debating, thinking, and questioning non-stop for as long as we are engaged with each other. Okay, that being said, I like to honor your time and honor my time and get started on the first one, that is honor. By definition, honor is basically meant to be living by a personal code of respect, of responsibility, of morality, of these deeply rooted social principles, of duty and discipline. To be honorable is to always choose what's right, whether they are the expectations that are placed on you or whether they are actions that you would basically commit that would have an impact on other people, or like other people may be affected by it, or sometimes even not, but it's just a possibility that it might affect other people. Living by honor is deeply rooted, of course, in samurai code. Surprisingly, even though ninjas were meant to be assassins, shinobi, they had their own code of conduct as well. Honor was deeply rooted amongst them. It is central to truthfulness, loyalty, courage, honesty, and continuing to stick to a code of conduct, being a reliable person, whether people are watching you or not, whether people are affected or not. We've actually also forgotten even the concept of honor among thieves, until of course we're halfway through an episode of like Law and Order and they're interrogating a dude who says, oh, I ain't gonna rat them out, and then eventually he does rat them out. But even in TV shows, in pop culture, honor kind of exists but doesn't exist anymore. We only see it in these kind of moments. Otherwise, a lot of new shows now, they're trying to portray that people can have two different sides, that everybody lies behind people's backs, and then eventually they become honest or whatever. But honor is not something that one character embodies consistently throughout. It's also not something that we see somebody incorporate in their daily lives after making a mistake and then sticks to it consistently. Even if they do, it's become something that's more like an understanding that you just have to be honest, or you have to be reliable, or you have to be hardworking, or you will have XYZ consequences. Without those consequences, I don't see a lot of movies, TV shows and stuff like that, unless they're based on certain types of books that have characters that are honorable constantly 100%. In real life also, it's really tough to be honorable all the time, but as much as possible, even if there are no consequences to doing it, I feel like we've really missed out on the concept of honor just for ourselves, to dictate how we make decisions, to dictate how we talk to people, to dictate how we respect others and we respect ourselves. Japanese philosophy is one thing, but I noticed honor being tied deeply also to classical Greek and Roman philosophy and mythology. From that perspective, it was tied very deeply to reputation. It was earned through virtue, another value that I don't even know if people know what it means anymore. But virtue, duty, public service, how much you really protected the people in your life, how much you really protected yourself from that perspective. For example, a lot of conflict in Greek mythology stems from Zeus being angry because some god did something dishonorable or behaved in a dishonorable manner and was then punished. And it was a hectic punishment. Like your whole life, you are screwed. You will spend all of eternity stuck somewhere doing something absolutely horrible or being tortured or tormented, or having no access to the world that you had access to before, the world that you took for granted, the world that you took advantage of by being dishonorable. So even if it wasn't outrightly said or propagated or encouraged in a direct way, it was very much, there were very much consequences to not embodying it or to not operating in an honorable way. So honor was almost expected of them, of the gods and of humans, because if you did the opposite, you were just immediately punished and gravely punished. In Roman religion and moral philosophy, it literally has a deity. So Onos was a god that represented honor and military virtue. I don't want to go deeply into the mythology of it. There is a lot of mythology when it comes to anything Greek or Roman. It takes time, but this is kind of my learning from it. You can go ahead and do your own research whenever you like. What I feel is really missing in today's culture with honor is not portrayed as honor itself. It's often hidden behind a larger image that a person may have or branding. It's always about what people see, what they perceive. You behave only in an honorable way when somebody is looking, or your brand or your product or your service only has so much transparency to the extent that you look honorable. All honorable actions behind the scenes go completely unnoticed, completely unrewarded, even if you've been the most honest, honorable, dutiful, dedicated, morally virtuous person, and you don't sit and say you did all of these things, when you did them, how you did them, all the time. You will always have some kind of conflict somewhere in your life where someone else will have portrayed you either as dishonorable, or somebody has made it sound like you've been dishonorable in your work or your conduct or your behavior, either to berate you or to get some kind of superiority over you, to manipulate you, or to just make themselves feel good. Dishonorable behavior also, on the other hand, has now become cool. To lie about somebody else, to tell someone something and then go tell someone else what they did, or that you tricked them into doing something. It's become like an accepted thing to do amongst friends. It's become something I'm seeing people do even in their families. Oh, I told him this, I told him that, but actually this is how I felt and I'm not actually going to do it. It comes from this whole idea of, oh my god, like how are they even going to find out? They're never going to know. Whether they know or not should be completely secondary. It should not even be a factor. Like for me, I cannot even fathom operating that way, but so many people think it's totally fine to purposely lie about the fact that, for example, someone else told them something that makes you look bad or will make you feel bad, just so that they can make you feel bad and then kind of manipulate you and get you to do whatever they want. So they will operate in a dishonorable way. They will project that dishonorable behavior onto you, and then they will make you think, no matter how honest and good you are, that it doesn't matter that you're good and honest, because you must learn to be dishonorable, because that is the only way you can be superior to somebody else. It's such a toxic way of functioning, and I find a lot of people in a lot of places function that way. There are a few ways to break out of it. There are a few things I have done to move away from this. One of the first things I feel like I do is to I'm just mentally check out when it comes to people like this. I know what my MO in life is. I know my principles. I trust that I have not done anything to hurt someone else. And if I've made a mistake, I have that honor and respect for myself to admit that mistake and find a better path for me to be on. But nobody can dictate that to me. And nobody can come and tell me that I have been dishonorable, especially in places where I know I have performed my duty with the utmost honor. So some things I try and do on a daily basis, which I don't really think of anymore, but I really had to work on, were making sure that I had daily small commitments to myself that I just completed, regardless of whether people were asking for it or I had to deliver it to something, for something, or to somebody. So whether it was being checked or not, I know I performed that duty in the day. The second thing is, no matter who you're talking to, no matter how difficult it is, no matter the level at which it might hurt you or hurt them, I find that I just have to tell the truth. I have to call out unfairness, even if no one cares. I don't think anybody cares about fairness or being right anymore. I think they care very much of getting what they want and getting what they desire, and the buck stops there. But I find that part of being honorable is also to call out that unfairness, to identify misuse of any type of authority or position of power. And there are ways to do it respectfully, but still be firm about it. In corporate life, there are processes to do it, processes of reporting that you can use to do it. I genuinely find I may not even need to bring these things out or say them to somebody else or have something done about it, but I do feel like I need to record them. I need to mentally record them, or I need to write them down somewhere, or at least make sure I'm cognizant of them enough so I don't ever do that myself. Especially when there are so many shortcuts now to doing things and living life, and things when it comes to money, when it comes to friendship, when it comes to people, when it comes to relationships. There's always an alternative, there's always an option, there's always an easy method, there's always a shortcut. I don't like using them. I'll take a year to recover from an injury that would otherwise normally take 3 months, not because of effort, but because I don't want to take that shortcut method. I don't want to just blast through and overload myself unnecessarily, or forget injury, but take fat loss or weight loss or anything like that. Those shortcut methods don't work, and even if they work, they don't last. They might give you results quickly, but they will leave more questions than they give you answers. I feel like it just promotes more behavior where you're not being respectful to yourself. You're not trying to understand what your body requires. You're not trying to understand how it might affect you in the long term. And I feel like honor needs to be deeply rooted from a perspective of you honoring you first, instead of trying to portray to other people that you are honorable. This value really just has nothing to do with anyone else's perception, and I don't think anyone can hold a mirror up to you to tell you or not tell you whether you are honorable or not. You need to know this for yourself. I think that little bit of like constant commitment and showing up for yourself and being, disciplined and honest constantly, it doesn't just come out of thin air. We've talked about it through a lot of the previous episodes, about just being dedicated, about being disciplined, about showing that commitment. We did a whole episode on commitment actually. What we didn't talk about, and a lot of why I didn't mention it, is because I think it's a forgotten value, which is the second one that we'll be talking about, and that's perseverance. By definition, perseverance is a steadfast, full dedication to a goal or a purpose despite its difficulty, despite anyone's discouragement, despite your own discouragement, despite delay, despite challenges, despite obstacles. Perseverance is that value that just does not allow you to drop commitment. It does not allow you to be okay with quitting. It is what we today call powering through, but not in the, oh my god, let me hit burnout tomorrow kind of powering through way. Perseverance is very much also a value where you're going to be committed to something for a long time. So rest does not feel like it's wrong. Rest feels like I will have more energy to show my perseverance if I take a break now. It has, again, deep philosophical roots in ancient Greek, both mythology, culture, philosophy. One of the words used very often in tandem with perseverance is fortitude or steadfastness. Aristotle explained it almost as courage. Courage was one of his cardinal values. And courage in terms of situations of hardship. There's also a deep school of thought that lies behind Confucianism and a lot of his philosophies. Perseverance here is tied deeply through loyalty, deep loyalty that, again, like, I do not see a deep level of loyalty anywhere anymore, not between people, not in personal relationships, not for yourself. It's so easy to break loyalty these days. It's just not funny. And I think that has really started with corporate culture, where companies just do not care about taking care of their people. So obviously people do not care about being loyal to their companies. Sorry, I'm just putting my laptop to charge. But that kind of perseverance, that kind of loyalty, that kind of commitment or dedication to your goals and your decisions and the things that you know you have to do for a long amount of time, they're forgotten. And perseverance as a value has been forgotten because we now rely and idolize quick wins. Everything is an overnight success, even if we know that it's really not. Everything requires productivity hacks. Everything requires shortcut methods. Everything requires instant gratification. That value of slow, consistent work is completely dismissed, except when somebody is unhappy with you or unhappy with your work or unhappy with a result, and then they expect you to make up for it again completely overnight. Nobody wants to wait 7 days to get something good and robust. They want to dump it into ChatGPT and get it immediately and use it and regurgitate it and present the same thing to key decision makers, to people who they're looking at for investments, to even their own selves, right? A lot of like therapy and relationship advice now is happening on ChatGPT, because why should I wait for a therapist to give me time when ChatGPT is giving it to me instantly for free? Man, a therapist there's a reason they exist. There is a reason you have time and breaks between your therapy sessions. There is very much a reason that they charge what they charge. I think sometimes prices are exorbitant, like it's ridiculous. But constantly having this like high performance and overnight success and quick win requirement for yourselves every day in life is the main reason we're burning out, we're frustrated. No one remembers or cares about the results that we've got, even if those results have been, a consequence of like deep work, of a lot of perseverance, of a lot of loyalty, of a lot of effort. We find it just so forgettable because everyone's getting results a lot quicker. Everyone else is getting the same results or seemingly same results from doing very little work. So what happens in that case is that we just never end up setting any big goals for ourselves. We never end up setting any goals where it takes time, it takes discipline, it takes daily commitment, it takes adjustment, it takes being okay with failure, it takes being okay with having a long path ahead of us. Anything that forces us to kind of come to terms with the fact that there is a lot of work to do. We just don't aim for those things anymore. And I think maybe one way of bringing that back, especially for me over the last 4-5 years, is to really set large goals. I may not achieve them, it's okay. I may fail doing all those micro goals that would help me actually achieve them, it's fine. But I want that big goal. I want a goal for the year. I want a goal for the next 10 years of my life. And I want to wake up every day for the next 10 years. And even if I don't have a job, even if I don't have friends, even if I'm not feeling good, I have that goal. I have that goal that I want to get to at the end of 10 years. And then suddenly that whole day does not become lonely or depressy or shitty or anything like that. That whole day becomes time. It just becomes so much time. I have so much time to do all the things I want to achieve. I finally have a day for myself where I can reflect, I can look at my values, I can understand how to implement them for the future, I can understand what to do in that day to bring me a little bit closer to that 10-year goal. The other thing that I really don't do enough of, and I should do, and I feel we all don't do enough of and we should do, is to really track effort. I track my food, I track my workouts, I change my workout programs like deeply every 3 months. Like I go completely back to the drawing board every 3 months, start from scratch, build a 3-month plan for myself or an 8-week plan for myself, and understand really what that discipline for me in terms of my workouts, my athleticism, my food, my nutrition, and the way that I'm breaking things up in the week, I need to know what that looks like. I need to know where my discipline needs to go. I need to know where my motivation will come from. Even if it is something where the results may not be visible at all. My body may not change, my strength may not change, the way that I'm playing when I play may not change, my mentality may not change. But I know if I don't change things every 3 months, I will get bored and I will not achieve the goal I've set for myself for the year. I will not achieve the goal I have set for myself for the next 5 years. I know I'll give up on something. I know I'll get bored of something. I know I won't be conscious enough of what I'm doing if I don't plan. So I plan, and then I feel like I don't track at all. But at the end of the month, if I kind of think of what I have done, I have not skipped a single thing that I have planned. I may not see results. There may not be anything except me telling myself, okay, we did it. Which is why I feel like maybe tracking effort is very, very important. Tracking effort is it's not a way of being persevering. It's not a way of persevering, but it's a way of seeing that you have persevered in the past. It's a nice way to recognize that you have discipline, that you can be a disciplined individual, that you can be a consistent individual. It shows you patterns of highs and lows. It shows you where your results really, really lie. They may not be visible results, they may be internal results, they may be emotional results. It might just be that, it's just become easier for you to deal with certain things now than it used to be before. It could be just that. Nothing more than that. It could be just that. You just seeing, those things for yourself. The last one is to share progress. And I think this is the only positive part of social media. It just forces you to be accountable. Especially if you are a person who tends to be really lonely, especially if you are a person who doesn't like journaling, doesn't really like having these things of writing it down. Did I do it? Did I not do it? Am I good? Am I not good? Have I managed? Have I not managed? I think just putting it out on social media and getting a little public reinforcement is good for you. If social media works for you in that way, instead of just posting photos on your holiday and stuff like that, next time maybe post a photo of you finishing the gym, you going for a run. So many athletes do it. So many people getting back on the fitness bandwagon do it. You don't just have to do it with your fitness. There is a huge culture now coming out of South Korea and China and Japan where young kids are just posting on social media while they're sitting and studying to show their friends, to share with their friends that they're studying for an exam. They've put in 2 hours of studies that day. They've put in so many hours of effort that week. They're learning a new subject. They're learning a new language. I really feel like speaking to your friends about it, telling them that you are on a particular path, sharing your progress on that path, those are the things that really, really keep you accountable. And accountability ties in very deeply with perseverance. It is very much almost a catalyst to it if you do it well and you do it right. Now, both these things, honor and perseverance, they don't kind of just fall out of the sky if you're not talking to other people about these things, especially with things like honor that are so invisible sometimes. You need to have a particular strength in your character to be able to stick to those things as much as possible. I feel like the third value that I've identified is another very internal one that ties those two together, but also has multiple dimensions to it, and that's integrity. By definition, integrity is the wholeness of character, aligning your values, thoughts, words, and actions under a consistent moral compass. I'm gonna have a sip of water. If you need to have a sip of water yourself, please go ahead. But I have been a little bit unwell and I can feel my throat hurting and my voice cracking. So before it gets worse, I'm gonna have a little bit. I hope that gave you enough time to sip whatever you're sipping on. I hope that gave you enough time to think about integrity and its definition as a value. Integrity for me, and I think I realized this very late, is something that I found very, very important. And not from its obvious way, like, yeah, of course, like your values and thoughts and words and actions and all of that should align and they should be consistent, and of course there's a moral compass, and I don't think that's all integrity is for me. I think integrity is constant, it is earned, it is not a value you can embody or cultivate overnight if you don't have it already. It's very much something that requires a lot of philosophical understanding and reading of literature, also to see what in its true form integrity looks like. Plato and Aristotle spoke of morality very much from a perspective of people having integrity as a value deeply rooted. Morality in itself requires a lot of consistent character alignment. If you want to think of yourself as a good person, then you have to have good values, you have to say good words, you have to perform good actions. Those things have to be consistent, those things have to be constant. You have to honor those principles, you have to live by them and perform your duties within that spectrum of morality that you have for yourself. Integrity also deeply ties into that sense of duty. I'm not performing my job with integrity because someone else has asked me to. I'm performing my job, my duties, my responsibility with integrity because I want the best outcome and I want people to be positively impacted by what I'm doing. With philosophers like Immanuel Kant, or if you look at a lot of modern ethics, integrity means more acting from duty, never manipulating other people, never using people or other people's work as a means to achieve your own goals, and also just being as much of an honest and pure human being that people can rely on consistently over a long period of time. It's operating in a way that you are not corrupted or tempted to perform malicious actions, even though it might help you further your cause or achieve one of your goals. People today, unfortunately, only look at integrity as trust. Can I trust this person? Can I not trust this person? Oh, 9 out of 10 times this person is good. But this one time, this person made an honest mistake and it affected me, so I can't trust them. I feel like we equate not the wrong values, but we equate values a little bit too much, too often, without enough observation. Maybe you've interacted with somebody 10 times. Maybe once something didn't align for you. You're now afraid that it's a pattern. So you simply don't have enough integrity to even stick around to see if that's a pattern in the other person. It's almost like the fault that you find in the other person is actually also a fault within yourself that you can't overcome. I don't know if it's really projection or not. I really feel like we're just mirrors of each other sometimes. And we kind of reduce the understanding of integrity, both for ourselves as people, as well as for like companies or the teams that we're working with. We kind of reduce it a lot to reputation management. I only want integrity to be part of my values because it looks good for my reputation. I should perform good actions and say good things on the outside because otherwise my reputation will be ruined. I want to tell people that I have this belief system and I am this type of person and I want to share this on my Instagram and I want to do this for this other person, just so that like I keep up appearances and I make it look like I am this great, good, valued, cultured, principled person who knows what integrity means. What is unfortunate is when you do that, right? Integrity is it's a solid thing when you crack it. There's a flaw in that sentence. How can a solid thing be cracked? But anyway, you know what I mean. It is a solid thing when you crack it, but it can be a very fragile thing if you don't understand it fully. A lot of professional, personal, online spaces, people, teams, companies, they hold a lot of inconsistency in their values and how they behave. I have seen so many companies do this bullshit of having aspirational values. I don't believe in them. Where they know that those values are not part of their company culture, but they'll put it down in their company culture anyway and say, oh, because it's not there, we should strive towards having it. And then if we write it down in our company values, then we'll have it. It's not how it works. Those are gaps. There are gaps in your humans, in your human resources, in your company culture, in the way your upper management is behaving, in the way your people are behaving, in the way your team is behaving, in the way your coach is behaving. There are issues. You can't just write a word down and bark it at people and expect people to embody those values. I know this entire episode that's exactly what I'm doing. But I am not expecting you to embody any of these values. The title of my series, in any case, there is no expectation for people to even care about these things. What would be nice though is to find the few people that do care, and if you do care and if you do have integrity as a huge part of your life, I'd love to know what integrity looks like for you. I'd love to know what integrity looks like for you at work. Have you met people that portray this? Please tell me. I would love to hang out with you. I would love to hang out with them as well. I think one of the ways also to bring integrity back is to just keep talking about it. It's to keep talking about, oh, this does not have the integrity that I expected. I want to operate with integrity. These are what my values look like. These are what my actions should be. This is what my behavior is. This is how I want my words to come out. I want to be kind. I want to be intelligent. I want to be factual. I want to be okay with failing. Can I connect all of that and make sure that I function with integrity and I don't hurt anybody else? A couple of ways to do this also, maybe if you don't want to kind of talk to anybody about it or put it out there, is to really consider and cognitively assess the decisions that you're making. Even micro decisions, day-to-day life, not what you're wearing and what food you're eating and stuff like that. Actually, maybe the food, yes, because there are a lot of ethical options for food now. Different conversation, but small decisions, big decisions, start taking a pause before you make that decision. Ask yourself, does this align with my values? Is this the behavior that I want to portray? Is this me? Is this the me I want to be? If I have achieved becoming a better person a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, is that how I want to operate? Is that how I want to be remembered? Is that how I want to be known? Is that how I'd like to know myself? Are these things aligning when I make these decisions? I think we don't pause enough before deciding stuff. I like being a very decisive person, but the moment I feel like something's off my radar, or there's even the slightest anxiety or alarm bell, I really sit back and assess, am I doing the right thing for me? Is this something that will make me a better person? And is this something that will not adversely affect any of my hard work or anyone else or anyone else's hard work? I think the other thing we also need to do is kind of be our own policeman. It's one way to ensure for yourself that you are honoring that value of integrity that you've decided to have. Again, maybe tracking it in some way, maybe meditating, maybe doing a few minutes of self-reflection every day. At the end of the day, like, have I acted with integrity? Is there something I have seen that I have done that I need to apologize for? Is there something where I have genuinely been out of line with somebody, with myself? Have I just not performed my actions and my duty in a manner that shows that integrity is a deep and important value for me? And I think one of the last things that just generally helps character building, whether it's part of these values or not, is to just admit mistakes. Just say it when you fuck up. I made a mistake. I am sorry. I forgot that you told me 6 times that you wanted to do this, and I promise I won't forget again, but I forgot again. I'm really, really sorry. I don't know why I forget these things. I will work on it and then actually work on it. Own it with people, man. Own your mistakes with people and let them help you reset. Sometimes you're trying to just bang your head against a wall because you know something is not right. You're afraid that somebody else will not like it, that you've made a mistake, and then you end up lying about it. And people are not dumb. They may not know in the moment that you're lying to their face, but they'll figure it out. Maybe they even might know in the moment that you are lying to their face, which will make them feel really shit. Because they will assume that you think they are stupid, that they can't see through the lie. Or they will just simply think you are stupid because you're lying to somebody who can see through your lies or will find out that you are lying. And that kind of brings us to the last value, which is trust and trustworthiness. And I guarantee you, if you are connected to smart and kind and intelligent individuals, if they are the people surrounding you, then making mistakes and admitting failure will not break trust. Unless you have consciously gone behind their backs and performed some kind of dishonor towards them or towards you. It is the only time people will doubt trust and doubt your trustworthiness and stop trusting you and also stop allowing you to trust them. I find that somebody else's trust in me can very much be controlled by me. There are many people that have wanted to trust me and tried to trust me, but they haven't performed any kind of trustworthy or respectful action towards me before, and for them, I don't show that reliability. I don't show them that respect. I move away from them completely. I don't allow them access to me at all. And I feel like we think trust is one way. It's really, really not. Trust is not even two-way. I feel there are whole different dimensions when it comes to trust. On a more singular dimension level, trust is understood to be reliance on somebody else's competence, somebody else's goodwill, somebody else's word, somebody else's behavior, and the consistency of all of those things. The consistency of someone portraying honorability, perseverance, integrity, that's what builds trust. Trust is very much built over long periods of time. Not just something where you wake up one morning and you've earned somebody's trust. Some people are the kind of people who are very trusting and they will trust you immediately. Some people are exactly the opposite. They take a really, really long time to trust you. Some people, even after like 10, 15 years, may not truly, fully be able to trust other people, no matter how close they are to them, whether they're best friends or not. But it's still very much a value that is within your control. Trustworthiness is very, very much in your control. I think one of the ways to really inspire trust or to make yourself seem trustworthy is to just be respectful and offer a sense of dignity to others. That showing of respect and dignity itself will automatically help others feel that you are a trustworthy person. I think trust is very much, when we look at interpersonal relationships, social circles, teams, and I mean sports teams, work teams, partnerships, even deep like romantic relationships. There are so many people who say that if you don't have trust, you have nothing. It's almost a unit of social currency. It's social capital, so to speak. It is our emotional investment in other people. And it's very much that like barter currency between close friends, family, and deep bonds that we share either with other people or even with the things that we consume. Trust very much forms a very necessary unit and measurement for relationships that we tend to think deserve and require our effort. I don't know if that made sense. It's a very heavy subject, even though trust is a very tiny word. And it is complex. Trust is complex for a good reason. It requires a lot of thought. It requires that discipline. It requires that perseverance. You have to perform that duty over and over and over and over and over again to really have somebody say, you know what, I trust that this person will not make a mistake with these things. And it's difficult for humans to do that. It's even more difficult these days for companies to do that because there are so many obstacles, challenges, and just inexplicable, uncontrollable things that come up in our daily lives, in the daily lives of entrepreneurs, in daily lives of business owners, in daily lives of the employees that work so hard for them. It's difficult to keep trust up. It is a lot of effort. It is a lot of hard work. I think trust, maybe it's not a forgotten value, but today it's just not, it doesn't exist to its 100%. Everyone breaks promises these days. Everyone just thinks it's okay to disappear. Everyone just thinks that because that third person is not there, I can just say whatever I want and I can leak whatever information I like, and I don't have to commit to them, and I don't have to respect them, and I don't have to behave a certain way with them. I don't owe them anything. They don't owe me anything. We just have to operate as completely, separate individuals when we are not physically together or we are not connected in any way, and I don't care how it's going to affect that person. I think that is a break of trust because it breaks everything else when it comes to basic human values. It breaks honor, it breaks honesty, it breaks integrity, it breaks consistency. One moment you are this really nice person, constantly complimenting me, constantly saying nice things, constantly trying to show that you're very respectful, and the next moment you are disrespecting me, you are disrespecting my family, you are disrespecting my relationships that I have built. You're intentionally, trying to insert yourself in my life, not because you want to get to know me, but because you want to interrupt my life, because you want that control over me, because you want that authority over me, because you want me to make you important for you, not for me. There's nothing you're giving me that makes me feel like that importance is required, because you're barely even giving my existence any importance, right? Lots of lies, lots of broken promises. I see this a lot in work culture. It is very much a deep part of why people get burnt out. You don't just get burnt out because of too much work. You can very much get burnt out because you have work, an average amount of work, or maybe a little extra work, but you just don't trust anybody around you to see their work through, to see their jobs through, to see their responsibilities through. So you don't know if your work is actually going to work. You don't know if your efforts are in vain. You don't know if your efforts will be rewarded. You have no faith. You have no trust in the system that you exist in 40 hours a week. And 40 hours, I can assure you, for majority of people is a minimum. You are spending 50 to 60 hours per week in a completely untrustworthy environment. It is like being in an abusive relationship. It is like living with somebody where you have no idea how they're going to treat you when they come home. I find it insane that people can just continue to do that day in and day out. And I find it even more insane that companies and bosses will turn around and say, oh, you don't trust us. Oh, you don't have any company loyalty anymore. Oh, you should stay because we have done so much for you. No, man, you are making this very difficult for me. If you wanted me to have trust in you, you should behave as a trustworthy person. Instead, what companies want to do is replace everything with technology. Because for an employer, technology is trustworthy because it's never taking any days off. And for people, it's like, oh, it's making my life easier. I have to do so much less work. So now it doesn't even matter if I'm in a good environment or not, because this other thing will do it for me. This website will do it for me. This AI will do it for me. Yay, life is easy again. But trust is important. Trust really, really needs to be brought back. And I feel like if you are in a situation where there is prolonged impact on how much you trust your immediate surroundings, get the fuck out. Just exit. Don't waste time. Persevere to the extent that is right for you. Persevere, yes, for your long-term goals. But if you are in an immediate situation that is not allowing you to become the person you want to be in 10 years, that is not allowing you to persevere for yourself, get the fuck out fast. Find an alternative, find a better place, and then get out. That is, of course, external trust. But what about internal trust? How do I become more trustworthy? One of the things I have tried to do is just not make promises, but ensure that whether I am promising it or not, I always do exactly what I say I will do. I don't want to talk about what I might do, what may happen, what may not happen. I will only agree to what I know I have in my capacity to actually perform. The other thing is, I'm not going to say that yes, I will do XYZ, even if I have half knowledge of it. I think competency and actual foundational knowledge, information, skills, expertise, experience, that really, really also reflects in the way people will trust you. Demonstrate your competence in things that you are good at and you have the skills for. Make sure that when you go and tell somebody that, yeah, I'll take care of it, you actually have the skill and expertise to take care of it. Not just take care of it, perform it better than their expectations, and then perform it on time. Be on time, don't miss deadlines. Try as much as possible, even if you need extra time, even if you feel like you're going to pass the deadline, ask for extra time, extend that deadline, be communicative, be open. Find a way to figure things out where you're openly telling people that this might be a mistake, and then they can also help you. It will help build trust, or at least in my case, it has helped me build trust. It has not just helped me build trust, it has helped me build back trust. I'm not saying you will always be trusted by everybody all the time, but there are certain times when people don't trust you that you really have to work to build it back. And I think consistency in communication, consistency in delivery, and the demonstration of like basic competence, skills, and just being on time is very important. I think also one of the things that kind of ties all the four values together is to just be a dependable person. Whether it's for yourself, kind of waking up and showing up every day, big ways, in small ways, whatever it is, just show up. Even when it's really, really inconvenient, just show up. It really helps to build trust. Even if you're doing it with people who you think are untrustworthy, it doesn't really matter. The important thing is that you do it for you. You do it for your sense of honor, for your sense of integrity, for your own values, and for your long-term goals. Apart from these four values, it would be really nice to know if you have something that you've thought of through this time, if you have something that you feel you would like to share. In addition to these four values, I have two other kind of secondary values that I really like to embody. One of them is compassion. It comes deeply from my need to be kind. I think we do a lot of drama on social media where, we talk about being like sad when there are a lot of like calamities happening, there are wars happening, there are people dying, we've come out of a massive pandemic. But I don't think we really know how to show compassion to the person sitting next to us, sitting on the train next to us, sitting in the next cubicle at work, sitting next to us in the car, 5 minutes after sharing a stupid Instagram story about, supporting this cause and supporting that cause. It'll be that same person who will go and yell at their kids or direct reportees because they've made an honest mistake, they've spilled the milk, they've ruined the couch, they've changed a slide and put one object in the wrong color or forgot to change the icon somewhere. And people do this without even trying to figure out why or helping them learn how to prevent doing it, which I think is a very sure-shot sign that we don't understand compassion. We don't look at somebody in the office who looks tired and stuff like that and ask them, are you okay? Is there something going on in your personal life? Are you very overworked? How can we help that? How can we manage things? We just turn around and say, oh, yeah, life is really hard and stuff. And yeah, everyone has a lot of work and everyone feels tired. And, even I'm going through the same thing. And, oh, what can we do? That's just how things are. It's just that, this company is not doing well. So we can't really support you while you're going through something big. The company doesn't have to support you, man. Your direct manager has to support you. Your colleagues have to support you. You have to re-strategize. You have to find different ways to show that compassion. It doesn't happen overnight. And if you don't show it, especially if you're a team leader or you're a boss or you're someone making big decisions in some big company or small company or whatever it is, if you don't teach it to your people and you don't have it as a value, if you don't have compassion for yourself as a personal value, your team will not have it either. And things will start to fail. People will start to fail at their jobs. And you will have created that environment where people fail. But I don't think people care about this. They just replace. And it's sad because what's lost is kindness and compassion. The other thing is, I think whoever's watching this and me, we're the only people who think about these things. So the secondary value that I have, in addition to everything else that I thought about, and I'm not going to go into depths with that either, but the second one I want to mention is thoughtfulness. I feel like thoughtfulness really requires moments of solitude, honestly, which like nobody wants these days. COVID has created this like isolation revenge for everybody. And now, more than it was before, people just want to be surrounded by people, either in real life or virtually. Whether they know those people, whether those people are strangers, not strangers, friends, not friends, whatever, they don't care. To me, it looks like a big bunch of absolute useless chaos, and it's just made people stop thinking, stop enjoying being on their own, and stop just like learning about themselves. I'll give you an example of just yesterday. I have a merch brand. It's called Ninja FC. It's pretty obvious what the merch I have created is. It is plastered all over the profile. It is not a diverse variety of merch. It is the same thing with different prints. I have created them. I am selling them. It has been a long time that I have been posting content about them. I still have a friend who has sent me a message last night asking me, "What's this?" Firstly, there was no apostrophe in what's, and that pissed the shit out of me. Secondly, it is a photo. He has replied to a story, an Instagram story of a picture of the merch and said, "What's this?" Bro, it's fucking written there. All he had to do was wait for 10 seconds, ask himself the question, "Oh, I wonder what this is. Let me for myself alone think and find out and check and look for more information that this person may have put out there." None of that has become anywhere part of his cognition. Instead, they've just typed a message into the message box, because why should I click one click when I can put, I don't know, 11, 12 badly punctuated letters? Instead of going and seeing the actual page and trying for myself to think and understand what this person is talking about, or what this merch is, or what this brand stands for. The other thing that really annoyed me also is that this person follows the page. They have been following the page for a long time. They've been following the page since I came up with the concept. I have even spoken to them about it because I have worn the merch once when I have met them. So I believe they've even seen me wear it and spoken to me about it in person. And I really, this is the part about people that I don't understand. Maybe I'm just too stupid to understand why people work this way or why people function this way, but how have we forgotten how to think? Human beings have forgotten how to think for ourselves. Why is it that we think that just because someone has put something on social media or on a social network, it just openly gives me the right to force them to waste their time on my stupidity? Force them to think for me, force them to teach me, force them to inform me because I'm too lazy to do it for myself. Everyone operates this way today. Everyone wants this instant gratification. Everyone wants someone else to explain the most obvious thing, not because they won't understand it, just because they are lazy. Just because they're used to, "Hey ChatGPT, what is this?" So now every other human being has become ChatGPT. I'm sorry, the existence of AI is so that I don't have to tell you this all the time. And that's the end of my rant. If you guys have any questions, if you guys have any values you want to share, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, if you want to debate with me, I'm very open to it. I think that's a really fun thing to do. I love meeting people, and even if I agree or I believe what they're saying, I love having a debate. Debates are fun. Arguments are fun. I don't like to do it for the sake of it. No, not anymore. I used to, but not anymore. But yeah, So let me know, leave it in the comments. I think instead of having a sip of water, I'm just going to conclude now. I really wanted to discuss this today because I feel like these are a lot of old school values. Yes, there's a lot of old school like language that is involved in it, but I think they really still matter. I think they matter even more now because we're living in a world that is chasing attention and popularity, and the reflection or the measurement of that is just a number or like views, and not actual respect, not actual loyalty, not actual measure of integrity, not actual measure of honor, trustworthiness, not even the actual effort of like deeply trying to build friendships or relationships based on respect. I know someone who's trying to be friends with me, and they've been trying like for a year and a half now, and they have done nothing about their behavior to show me actual respect, except for constantly just giving me the very basic compliments whenever they see me. And it's not that I'm uncomfortable or anything like that with it. It's just that you're not changing your behavior at all. You're just trying to lick my ass. Yuck. Ew. It's disgusting. Stop it. Just have actual respect for my space and for who I am and for what I'm building and the effort that I'm making and the amount of hard work that I want to do and that I have done. It's not difficult. Just value me and my time, and then that's it. I don't want these like empty words, you know? And then it's easy to be my friend, to be very honest. I am genuinely a very friendly person, even though I'm not a very social person. I like to be alone for a lot of my day, which is also why I like doing a lot of these episodes, but yeah. But anyway, that said, thank you so much for spending another hour with me and having a very fun existential crisis. I really hope that you could see this clearly and you could hear this clearly. And I think the last thing I want to apologize for is that I have not made much of an effort to do any kind of glowing up or beautification that is so deeply rewarded on YouTube and Instagram. But I am exhausted. I love doing this, so I did it. But it's draining, and I don't want to take breaks, but just a small warning that I think every 6 to 8 weeks I should take like a week or 2 weeks break. So I really want to thank everybody. Please continue to stay tuned. Please join me for the next episode next week. I don't know when it's going to be. My schedules are all over the place. But I love having you here. I love doing this. And I hope I can do this for a very long time in my life. Thanks, and I will see you guys very soon.